I'm a banned person. I am not allowed to publish or to meet a group of more than two. I am forbidden also to travel away from what must be one of the most brilliantly beautiful places on the earth, Cape Town, surrounded by dazzling beaches, forests on one side and the wild bush on the other, perhaps the huge stone mountain for the perfect holiday. By day you swim or surf or take a cable car up Table Mountain, and at night stand on a beachside balcony, look out across the shimmering sea, and catch the twinkling of the lights of Robben Island. I have no problem with the policy of armed struggle for the overthrow of white South Africa. Since Sharpeville, since the banning of the ANC, there's been no other way. If when people organize they are banned, if when they demonstrate they are shot, if disparities of wealth and power are actually growing, then there is no question why and only questions how. But still I think back to the early days, the 50s, days of innocence, so good to be alive. We saw ourselves as storming heaven, saw it as an act of love, but now it's different. Now the sacrifices that we'd only sung of suddenly came real. It's all too simple. Elevate our lack of courage to a principle and call that principle nonviolence. It's all too easy. Build your fear of being hurt or killed into a principle that people should not hurt or kill the people who are hurting and are killing them. It's all too neat to say that change must be controlled and ordered, that our world here can revolve that far without a revolution, that crops will grow without the plow, that we can have the rain without its thunder, we can seize the sun without the fierceness of its burning. But where do I locate that? Me, albie Sachs, the boy who always broke up fights at school, the natural mediator. Where can I find my hatred and my rage? Oh, yes, I loathe apartheid, its complacent grubbiness. The fact that in here, even as a prisoner, I'm better off than you are as a jailer. I don't have to sweep my cell. I don't even have permission. I'm padded all over with petty privilege, and I abhor its cunning. What it's done to me by splitting me from my comrades, isolating me, removing me from that collective strength that stops me being just a man with an upset conscience, places me in history and gives my conscience scale. But I can't hate the people. I'm jealous of the Africans. I'm sick with envy for their rage. I hear the keenings in the courtyard of the boys, their screaming, and the cackles of the policemen beating them. And I feel pity and disgust, and I cannot understand people act like this, but still I wish I had their hatred and their rage. I'm furious with what my jailers do, but not with what they are. I hate the whip, but not the men who wield it. So, good morning, Mr. Snyman. Where's the boy who sweeps your cell? He hasn't been yet. Perhaps he's been delayed. I try to run a station. What is it? It's the result of your application. I haven't made an application. You're supposed to read it. It's your books and writing paper. What? Oh, what? You've got to read it. Yes, of course I'll. In the Supreme Court of South Africa, Cape of Good Hope Division, having read the files of record, Ladita, the court declares the applicant entitled to be supplied with or to be permitted to receive and use a reasonable supply of reading matter and writing material. Oh boy. Now you've read it, sign here. Yes, of course. It doesn't help, you know. Your people making a fuss and keeping it at me. The telephone's not stopped. I said I would consider it when I had studied what the judgment said. But you are. You will. I mean, it is the order of the court. If they'd listened to me, this whole thing wouldn't have been needed. Policemen are so obstinate. I'd have given you a book or two, and they'd have been no case. Well, yes, you did your encyclopedia. I'm very grateful. Now they come serving orders on me. Hey, wat maak je? Ek? Ja, ik kan dit zien. Je 20 minutes laat. Here, give me that broom. Bugger off, off. Here's the broom. You can sweep out your cell. I'll leave the door open so you can sweep the dust into the yard. It's sunny in the yard. I'll be back in 10 minutes. You understand? There's ways of doing things. Thank you, Mr. Simon. We'll talk about what books you want tomorrow. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Basil. I know your judge is in South Africa, but still I thank you. It is Friday evening in the 116th day, and I have my books. Long books. Can read 600 pages in a day, and novels. Don't want books of politics, philosophy, and criticism. Books about people. What escapist book? Want escapist books. Books about normal life. Hey, Jimmy D. Slutas. You can go back to the charge room. Athlete's foot. The doctor says I should walk barefoot as much as I can. It's good for you. I see. Makes feet of steel. When I was small, we were so poor we didn't know what shoes were. Hard as steel. Would you like to sit down? Thanks. We've just been celebrating, bit of a party, celebrating the success of the Widows and Orphans Ball. The ball took place last night. I didn't go myself. I'm not a drinking man, of course. I have a drink or two at home, but not the bar. This afternoon, just one or two, to celebrate the success we had the ball. I'm very pleased. Yes, we were very poor. My grandfather, in fact, he was a justice of the peace. That was when the Cape was a separate province. He had 7 farms, but the British took them because he was a rebel. Life was hard. That's why I joined the police force. When was that? Oh, yes, you see. The police force at the time. It wasn't like it is today. It was run then by the English and the Irish and the Scots, and the English hated the Irish, and the Irish hated the Scots, and the Scots hated the English. But they could agree on one thing. What was that? You want to know what it was? I'll tell you. They all agreed to hate the Afrikaner. You know, before the war, I wrote my sergeant's exams, and they failed me. And again, in 1947, I wrote them all again. Still, they failed me. It was like that. If you asked an English sergeant anything, he'd say, fuck off. Just like that, he'd say, fuck us. He'd say it, fuck off. Now, that's one phrase that you'll not hear in my station. No one says, fuck off. You will not hear a person in my station use that phrase, fuck off. But that is how it was in those days. But now, of course, it's changed. Now, it's all right. I see. It's all much better now. In fact, as it happens, after 1948, the Nationalists took over. I wrote my exams another time, and they still failed me, some reason or another. It's because of that experience that I gave up politics and became a student of the Bible. You were in politics before? The OBs went ahead, of course. You know, the people who cut wires and blew things up to make us fight the Russians and the Germans. I wouldn't blow things up. I wouldn't fight. I'm not prepared. I said to fight unless it's fighting in South Africa. For South Africa. But still, they said I was pro-German, nearly put me here in jail, in fact. But I refused to blow things up. And so when the Nationalists came in, they failed me. Politics. It hasn't done me any good. Look what it's done to you. Indeed. I mean, why should I hate you just because you're Jewish and a communist? Doesn't the Bible tell us we should love our enemies? Does it say that? Oh, yes, yes. It says it in the Bible. That's why we get on, you and I. Because God says we should love our enemies. Birmingham. I'm sorry? Birmingham, America. You mean Alabama? Yes, that's right. They tried desegregation there, and look what happened. Riots, people killed, all blown up. We don't want that. It doesn't work. You read your Bible. It doesn't work, you see. I could have knocked him down and stole the keys and gone, but I thought he might be ill. I was worried that he might be ill. Hello? Hello? Is everything all right? It's fine. Where's Mr. Snyman? How should I know? He's not here. I'd heard he was here. Some time ago, perhaps, alone with you. For quite a time. Well, he was here. Alone with you. How long? 10 minutes? 20 minutes? I think you'd better ask him that yourself. Yes. Is everything all right? It's fine. Well, you wanted to protect him. Did I? Very sweet of you. The man's a Nazi, albie. Loathes you Jews. Should hear him. Oh, he wasn't an OB like Forster was. Now there you go again, defending him. Too scared, I would imagine. Or too dumb, or both. Why do you protect him? Solitary confinement. Interesting and not inaccurate. We don't know quite who wrote it. Some of the consequences are strange and unexpected. You might fear you are going mad. There may be changes in the way you see and hear. There may be fluctuations, drifting and swirling of objects in the visual field. You will be shouted at, insulted, told you will be kept in prison forever or even hanged. Well, that's a little purple. But this one is spot on. After a time, you will feel a terrible urge to talk to anyone about anything. This urge is almost irresistible. So you talk to Snyman. And so you're not going to talk to Snyman anymore. Of course, it isn't Snyman as such. It's anyone you can protect. It makes you feel a human being. And part of the idea, of course, is quite precisely not to let you feel a human being. One thing it doesn't mention, oddly, is sleep deprivation. I mean, if you want to drive a man quite potty, have him gibbering. You keep him up all night. I saw it once in Mozambique. It's quite degrading as a spectacle. That is a threat. I found it markedly unpleasant. You don't like people seeing people suffer. Well, I've always been fastidious. It's a very British trait. I was in Kenya with the British Army. There was only one problem there. The British didn't really want to win. We have this draining pedantry, obsession with the other fellow's case. That's what I mean, fastidious, like you. There's no doubt at all in my mind. It's very simple. I want to see justice and equality in South Africa. I don't see apartheid's case because it hasn't got one. You see Ghana's? All I know in this country, and I've no doubt at all that things will have to change here, and when they do, if I'm ever able to influence anyone or anything, then there will never be anything like this solitary detention anywhere at any time. Are you quite sure I'll be anywhere at any time? Oh, yes, quite sure. Yes, you probably are. Equality and justice, late night chats with Nazis. Tell me about Sophiatown. I'm not prepared to answer any. Oh, for heaven's sake, it's an illustration. All right then, Sophiatown, Johannesburg in 1955. They moved out, protested, refused to go, defiance of unjust laws campaign, defied away. But then eventually they did get moved, and Sophiatown became a suburb. Then they decided to rename it, and the name they chose was Triumph. And some, the liberals, progressives, thought it rather tactless, pointed out its lack of, well, fastidity. So you defy, you carry on defying, will continue triumphing. You hate the whip, but not the man who wields it, Albie. You do that because in here you've no one, and to hate and fear your guards would make you feel so small and tiny and alone that you'd give in. We aim to make you feel that, Albie. That is what we're doing to you. Just to let you know. When I first received the paper, it was dazzling white, and the pencil felt clumsy between my fingers. I rested my hand on the pad and waited for my fingers to start moving. First I thought of my name, but that seemed a bit silly, and then I thought of drawing, but I'm hopeless at drawing. Finally I made a blob, tiny black blob on the corner of the page, and thought, here it is, pencil and paper and pencil. Power of communication, the summit of civilization, and all that I can manage is a blob. And I suppose that I was frightened, too, that they would read it, what I wrote, and see inside my mind, and so I blobbed on for a week or two. But then I started games, word games. I've developed quite a repertoire. First there are word letters, dog to cat, and three, dog, cog, cot, cat, sick to well, four, six, silk, sill, sell, well. But jail to free is a little longer. Jail, fail, fall, fell, feel, feet, fret, free. Jail to free in seven. Stan in die lin jour Comat na trap tropu. Wagnu bobejan monis tutni. From word games, it is not a big step to crosswords, and I have been working on a special 90-day variety. I'm pleased that all the clues fit so well to my theme. For example, there is See you later, plainclothesman. 12 letters, which is investigators. To begin with, for keeping prisoners, but altogether for keeping wine is 6, cellar. Hath April, June, November at certain types of prisoner. 6 and 4 is 90 days. Still jul bleri donder. Et journi voken oni, uju voken mon papijen. Prisoners in flight, 4 and 5, jailbirds. In fact, I gave the crossword to the station commander in the hope that it might be published in the police magazine. Sadly, they thought it was a kind of code, which indeed it is, but not the kind of code they thought. Nous saljul bobergen suite. Mugan julkak jong. Many of my pages are devoted to what I call the quick brown fox game. The idea is to write a sentence which contains all the letters of the alphabet, which is shorter than the famous quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, which is 33 letters. My best effort, I feel, is quick brazen fox fights vex jumpy world, with only 30 letters. Even shorter is wild brazen fights vex jumpy quack, which is only 29 letters, but little sense, and why just quiz and vex grim black fop must be rejected on the grounds of poor political content. My personal favorite is Beg Crazy Cops Fix with Them Quick and Jail, which, although it has all of the 34 letters, is highly topical and accordingly worthy of a consolation prize. If I am released, perhaps a newspaper will be interested in this game too. Okay, let's start. And finally, there are memory games, which are quite important to me as my memory is so terrible I have forgotten half the license number of my car. And this, I hope, will help revive my powers of remembering. Megabula, Jabas, Comerso. I have spent a day, for instance, going through the states of America alphabetically, geographically, and related to major towns. By now, the first 45 or so came easily, but three remain elusive every time. I write my list and then I go through all the permutations till I find the ones I've missed. Today I've three to find. So alphabetically, there's Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas. The C's are Colorado, California, and Connecticut. Missed out Delaware. There's Florida and Georgia and Hawaii, Idaho and Illinois. Indiana, Iowa, and Kansas and Kentucky. Galen. For a while, I confused myself by thinking that New Brunswick's an American state. In fact, it's Canadian. Two left. Wilfred and Gala. Jabas. And now the towns, the easy ones: Boston, Massachusetts, Detroit and Michigan, Oklahoma City, more or less by definition, as of course New York, Dallas or Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Las Vegas is Nevada, LA, San Francisco, California, Tucson, Arizona. Why the hell do I remember Tucson? Memphis, Tennessee. For a long time, tried to restrict myself to state capitals, but that proved ridiculously frustrating. I mean, who knows the capital of New York State? In fact, I did remember it was Albany. One left, so geography. Starting from the northwest, going around the coast, there's Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, again, just again. Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, both the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida. Jabas, Comatnat, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico. Oh no, missed it. Next to Georgia, first in the bloody alphabet, as in a Birmingham. Alabama. Luck, look, loom, doom, door. Okay, Albie. Hello, Lieutenant. Get packed, you're moving. Where to? Does it matter? Comme nous loop. Hurry. These days, I'm not used to doing things in a hurry. You better start learning. You keep me here for 130 days doing nothing, and then you expect me to hurry. That's right. Come on, we haven't got all day. All right, I'm ready. I've come to oversee the transfer of the detainee. I'm the station commander. It is my job to supervise the prisoners. Of course it is. Whatever's said. Goodbye, Mr. Snyman. I won't say it's been a pleasure being here, but we've had some interesting conversations, and for that I'm very grateful. I hope we don't see you back in here. Well, so do I. They asked me to bring these. All right. So how you've got them? At Caledon Square, I suffer another drop in my standard of living. The cell is tiny and so little natural light that the electric light has to burn all day. The only good thing about the cell is the window, which is at the eye level, and although it's heavily gridded, I can see through it. Unfortunately, the view is blocked by a red brick wall a yard away. Through the windows comes the incessant jabber at the radio patrol room that goes on all day. Mr. Sachs. Good morning, Colonel. Would you like to sit down? No, thank you. I'm told by my men that you still refuse to answer any questions. Is that the case? Yes, that is the position. You won't answer any questions at all? No. I'm afraid then that the outlook for you is very bleak. It is 138th day. It started. It's been going on for weeks. It started mildly. I would feel, when going to the yard, a strange lightheadedness, a dizziness, my head becoming a balloon. I feel as if I'm in some kind of growing void. And it got worse, a periodic shock, a kind of spasm when my mind's at rest, off guard. My limbs will suddenly contract and kick out, and my body's shaken as if an electric current's passing through me. Sometimes also when I'm showering, if I have this fantasy, I stand there in the wet, all soapy, slippery, and get this urge to tumble down and crack my skull and watch it split apart. My brains burst out like pomegranate pips, the red stuff splurging out across the wet cement. I think perhaps the idea in my mind is if I fall and let my head break open, then I can't be blamed if the policemen see inside my mind. The worst of all is the splitting. I'm lying in my bed, feel my soul separating from my body. My limbs and trunk and head lie there inert, a vegetable mass, while my soul floats gently to the ceiling where it coalesces and becomes embodied. Usually the soul becomes an owl. It sits there calmly watching me, its eye. I'm staring at myself. My owl is watching me, my owl, my me. You asked to see me. I'm sorry to bother you, doctor, but you've got a bed, I see. Yes, it's reasonably comfortable. So what's your complaint? Would you like to sit down? No, thank you. I know what you're going to say. Do you? Yes, you'll say we doctors are useless. We don't do anything but help. But of course, there's very little we can do. It's up to you. Don't think I caught your name. Dr. Crowell. Well, Dr. Crowell, I've asked to see you because I'm worried about certain symptoms I've been having. They're not things I normally bother with. There's nothing serious, I'm sure, but in here I feel I can't take chances with my health. You want to hear my symptoms? Yes, all right. Well, doctor, I have a number. The first is I have this dizziness. When I'm walking to the yard, my head becomes very light. It's not easy to describe, but I feel as if I'm in a kind of expanding void. Expanding what? Void. And the second thing, I get these shocks. It's a kind of spasm when my mind's at rest. When I'm off guard, my limbs suddenly contract and kick out. It's a bit like an electric shock. Hmm. And third, doctor, do you want to note this down at all? No, no. Well, third, I have this feeling it's a bit hard to describe when I'm lying on my bed as if my soul is sort of separating. Your soul? Are you religious? Well, it's a physiological sensation. I'm trying to describe it. You know, you're very lucky here. I am. Prisons are much better places than they used to be. You get 3 meals a day and a bed with blankets. I can't see what you're fussing about. Well, I'm just telling you that I can't see why you're complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm reporting an illness. If you don't like it here, then there's a very simple way out. Doctor, I'm not sure it's your function. I think it's my job to decide my function. Have you finished? Yes. Right, I'm satisfied that your conditions are perfectly adequate. Doctor? Hmm. What did what would you say if my arm was broken or blood was pouring out of my mouth? Your arm isn't broken, there is no blood pouring from your mouth. Or if I said I was Napoleon, the Queen of Sheba, Elihu, the son of Barashel, the Buzite. I pace backwards and forwards in my narrow cell. This man's job is to heal the sick. I've been 5 months in solitary confinement. Instead of examining me, he gives me a lecture. How dare the government employ a man like that to care for prisoners? He realizes what he's just said. How dare the government of the Republic of South Africa? He sits on the bed. I decide I'd better try to make my mind off it. Take my mind off it. I realize that now I must rely on my own resources to keep my mind together. I try and read. My eyes are skimming through the lines. They're not absorbing any of the sense. They're brimming up with tears of anger. How dare he? How dare he accuse me of malingering? What kind of person does he think I am? Who are you? My name is Summels. I'm a doctor. I believe you are worried about your health. I'm just, I've just seen Dr. Crowell. I know, he's just reported to me. I thought it best if I came here myself. Is this your book? Would you like to sit at all? Thank you. So what's the problem? Well, I've got these symptoms. They're not things I'd normally bother with. And why are you bothering? Because I'm abnormally locked up in solitary confinement. Yes. Is it true you refuse to answer questions? Yes. Tell me your symptoms. Really, you want to hear them? Yes, of course. It's not my job to lecture you. Then thank you for being a doctor. Thank you, prison doctor. He gave me pills. I haven't taken them. I don't know what they'll do to me. Why is he not talking, do you suppose? Well, I don't know. Perhaps he's worried he'll betray his comrades in the struggle. Perhaps he is. Although they'd hardly thank him for it, seeing as how they've talked, the lot of them, they've talked and now they're free. It's rather touching, isn't it? Though he seems prepared to suffer everything for people who won't suffer anything for him. Why, he's not talking. Why is he not talking, do you suppose? It's hard to say. It could be his ideals, his long participation in the struggle. Well, that could be so. Grand gestures, making Africans sit down on all white beach benches, sitting down himself on benches marked nice knee blankets. I wonder what he thinks he will achieve. I wonder what he thinks he has achieved. I think I've got it. Albie wants to be a hero. I think you're right. He wants to be St. Joan. He wants to be a freedom fighter in Algeria. He wants to be a French resistor captured by the Nazis. He wants to do a far, far better thing than he has ever done before. Why be a hero, Albie? It isn't like the books, nor clench your fist against the firing squad, not the short walk and shout defiance on the gallows, just the empty cell and all those endless days. Of course, they'll tell us that's the same. Why be a hero, Albie? Haven't you read in the sacred texts? It's not the individual, it's the masses. Not the man that matters, it's the movement. Of course, the man's got little choice. Now he's the only one that's left. Why be a hero, Albie? Justice? Liberation? Come on, you read the papers. You know what's happening in Ghana and the Congo. You know what bombs do to people, Albie. Must have doubts. You must have reservations, haven't you? Why be a hero, Albie, when you know we're certain and you're really not quite sure? I've always said tomorrow's another day. Sufficient unto this day be its evil. But I've had an awful lot of yesterdays, and every day it's harder. Find the stamina, sufficient stamina, to get me through until next tomorrow. Drag through that and add another yesterday. And I'm convinced it's not the information anymore. It's just you want to prove that nobody survives a kind of trial of strength for you, and you won't let go until I've broken. And I'm sure that all the trials in train when I was taken must be over. And I know that all I'm doing is suffering. A year, 2 years, I'm bound to break eventually, and why not now? And I don't think it matters anymore. It won't hurt anyone. It won't hurt me. And so on Friday when you come, I'll speak to you. He opens the bottle of pills. He takes out a pill. He looks at it, puts it back in the bottle, screws down the cap. He stands and puts the bottle on the bed. And it is the Friday. Time for exercise. Come. Hey, Sergeant. Do you like jokes? Depends on the joke. It's about this woman whose son swallowed a sixpence. Have you heard it? No. Well, she told her husband about this and said, "We must take him to the doctor." And the husband said, "No, don't bother with that. Take him to a lawyer. He'll get the money out of him in no time." Yeah, that's very good. I will remember that. Yeah, very good. Sergeant seemed to like the joke. Oh, yes, he likes a joke. What's he like to work under? Oh, you know. Go on. Most time, he's okay. Sometimes we say it must be better to be one of his prisoners than one of his constables. Used to be a prisoner, so I suppose he's, sympathetic. Used to be a prisoner himself. Oh, yes, 2 years, and they let him have his job back. Oh, yes, the police are not too bad about that. What was he in for? Oh, it was for something about a bandit. I think he filled this kafir up with water and then jumped on him until he died. What? Get it out of him in no time. I'm sorry? Joke. Oh, yes. They want to see you now. Who? The interrogators. How long did it take? I mean, it just have taken quite a time. You what? It doesn't matter. Albie. Captain, look. Now, Albie, it's been 150 days. We know you want to talk, but something holds you back. What is it? Well, look, Albie, it's the others, is it? Really? You know there's no one need to discover. We can promise secrecy. If you don't want to be a witness, then you needn't be. We'll see you all right. Yes. Why are you so stubborn? Why? Your precious self-respect, your honor. What a medieval word, your dignity. You think that you look dignified. You think it matters to us or anybody. No, I don't. I am not prepared to answer questions at this stage. Sorry, but no, it matters to me. Agvogdom to rugna diesel. Sergeant. Yeah, just thank you. Thank you very much. Mekup didur, mekdir vokendurup. I thought we'd finished, Captain. You do realize what? We won't be soft on you. I'm aware of that. You can't complain. We didn't tell you what we went. Oh no, I can't complain. And any time, just ask for me the day or night, I'll come. You will. I will. Oh, thanks. Thanks very much. But I don't think it will be necessary. Someone else? Not necessary, thank you all the same. It's nothing personal. It is your orders after all. You are just doing what you're told. You needn't be a witness, and we'll see you right. What kind of person do they think I am? What's that? 167 days? 168, in fact. I haven't done today. Nearly 6 months. It is. Do you want something? This is for you. What is it? I'm only the messenger boy. I am free. I am free. I'm off to the sea. It is 5:15. The sun is low, and I am running to the sea. As I pass the magistrate's court, I fling my arms in the air. I'm free. I'm free. People stare at me. They think I'm only one of those cranky runners trying to keep fit. Well, let them stare. If only they knew. They think I look funny. Oh well, that's fine. A man should look funny when he's free. It's 6 miles to the beach. I've never run 6 miles before. But then again, I've never been released after nearly 6 months in jail before. They've lost and I have won, so I'm running to the sea. I pass a stadium. It's empty. I'm the only athlete here. I cross a patch of grass and I feel it soft beneath my feet. I pass a police station. I shout, "Oh no, you cannot touch me now." And I am near. The mountain rises. I can see the water sparkle, hear the crashing of the waves. I think of what the sea will feel like, water washing over me. I'm free. I'm free. And then at last the beach. And there he is, the man I'd hoped for with his camera and taking pictures of the mountain and the beach. And one more thing to do before I throw myself into the sea. Hey, hello. Hello? Look, could you do me a favor? What favor? Look, please don't think I'm mad, but hey, Albie? I've just been released from prison. I've been held as a 90-day detainee. Hey, Albie, you bugger. Those are my friends. They've come to celebrate, but I'd like you to take my picture. Hey, hello, Albie. Eh? Look, my name is Albie Sachs. I know it must sound crazy. Hey, Louie, where's Albie? But if you do this for me, I'll pay for the whole school. He's there on the beach. Look at him. Hey, Albie, how's it feel? You see, this is a wonderful day for me, and I want a record of it. I mean, do you see? Hey, Albie, how are you? Well, okay, if you like. That's wonderful. Albie, you'll have to run that way because of the sun. Okay. What is he doing? Is that okay? That's okay. Hey, Albie. Albie. Hey, hello, Albie. Now. Hello, Albie. Oh, no. Well, Albie, how are you? But I thought, yes, Albie, what did you think? It's made clear to me when I was released that no further proceedings would be taken against me. That was 2 years ago. A lot has changed. Things hotting up. Your people killing people. Nasty business in Johannesburg Station. We think some chums of yours involved. We'd like to know. Oh, yes, a lot has changed. Yes, think I know things have changed. Now you're beating people up, depriving them of sleep. You're using electric shocks. You're driving people berserk. So berserk that some of them have jumped out of eighth floor windows. Oh, I'm aware that things have changed. Are you going to deprive me of sleep? Please sit down. This is Captain Swampole. He and his team have come down specially from Pretoria. Good afternoon, Captain. Good afternoon, Mr. Sachs. Have I been brought here for interrogation? Have I been brought here for interrogation? What happens if I want to leave here? What happens if I want to leave here? Are you planning to deprive me of sleep? You'll see. I'd like to make my position clear. Please, make your position clear. I was brought here as a witness, and the law doesn't entitle you to subject me to prolonged interrogation. And if you do, then I'll see to it that